Turtles. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Heroes in a half shell. Turtle power.
Hey everybody, Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. It's time again for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Out of the Shadows. That's a mouthful of a title. Alright, the 2014 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie was actually my first full movie review. So it's kind of fun to, go back and kind of connect back with my first review. And apparently I was trying to imitate Ted Kaczynski there. Weird guy. But that movie, I like to say, I was delightfully disappointed. Meaning went in thinking it was going to be a giant train wreck, but I actually found a very competent movie and fairly enjoyable. And I recently rewatched it and actually liked it even a bit more. I went into the right headspace and found the movie quite enjoyable. I had a lot of fun. So let's talk about Out of the Shadows. I usually like to give my plot right away, but just explaining the plot goes into what I think is spoiler territory. So let's just say it's another adventure with the Ninja Turtles. That's your plot. Sorry, that's all I can do without spoiling stuff. I'll go into it more in the spoilers, but yeah, it's an adventure with the Turtles. So let's dive right into the characters. So to get some of the quick and easy ones out of the way, Megan Fox returns as April O'Neil. If you enjoyed what she did in the first movie, you'll enjoy her in this movie. If you hated her in the first movie, you'll hate her in this one. There's not a lot of change in what she does. She's not a damsel in distress. She's a definite part of the plot and is very helpful to the Turtles. I personally enjoyed what she did, and she did a good job in this one as well. She's only over-sexualized just one time, so go Hollywood. But she's handled really well. I like what she did. I like her April O'Neil. It's not so bad. Not so bad. We got Will Arnett returning back as Vern. He's a little bit more of an asshole in this movie than the last one, but I think that's definitely on purpose. He has taken the credit for the actions of the first movie, so they can explain, what happened without the Turtles exposing themselves. So he made a deal with the Turtles to take credit for the first movie, basically. And so he's a bit of a, righteous asshole, I saved the city kind of guy. And Will Arnett plays an asshole very well. Hopefully he's not one in real life, but he plays an asshole just the best. So I kind of enjoyed him. He sometimes was a little much in this movie, but he was alright. He did a good job. So let's dive into the Turtles themselves. I'm not going to talk about each individual one, because a lot of the traits from the first movie transferred into this one. So again, if you liked him in the first movie, you'll like him in this one. If you didn't, you probably won't like him in this one. But there are a few upgrades that I found. Leonardo is not voiced by Johnny Knoxville this time, so that's a lot less distracting. I found that very distracting in the first movie, and I don't think Johnny Knoxville's voice fits Leonardo. This one's voiced by the guy who did the actual motion capture for the turtle, and so I think it felt a lot better. I liked his voice a lot better. It fit the character. Well done. As a great upgrade. Now, the design of the Turtles itself has changed, if you didn't notice from the trailers. There is a big change in the design. The last one, they were all kind of the same bulk, huge monsters, basically. But the only change, the only difference is, voice and the color of their mask kind of thing. But they all have the same general body design. This one, I noticed a huge difference between each turtle, kind of building into their own character. Like Donatello is a little bit lankier, a little bit thinner, kind of like your tall nerd character. Leo and Raph are pretty similar, but it makes sense. They're the big hulking ones because they're the ones that take training much more seriously. Leonardo's a little bit slimmer than Raph. Raph's still the big hulking monster, but it fits. He's, the muscle. So that's done really well. And then Michelangelo is a lot shorter, a lot rounder, and it fits him kind of being a younger one, and it really builds into the characters and gives them a lot more traits that are continued and developed more into this movie. Where Michelangelo's the outgoing one, so he wants to join the people and talk with the people, but he's a giant turtle and he can't. And that plays a lot into this. Donatello's inventing all this stuff. Raph, heads in, full steam ahead into a lot of situations. It really all worked out really well. I liked what they did with the turtles, and I love any upgrades they did to them. That was definite a bonus for this movie, for sure. And the newest good guy brought into this movie was Casey Jones, played by Arrow's Stephen Amell. Now, this isn't the Casey Jones who's homeless and been on the streets being a vigilante for a long time. This is more of an origin story for Casey Jones. You only see him in the mask once, which is pretty disappointing, but they also did that in the 90s movie. He's only in the mask for like a second, and then he's out of it, and he never puts it back on again. Again, with this movie. And he only talks about hockey, where Casey is into all sports, and his golf bag is filled with all sorts of sporting equipment that he uses to beat on people. But again, like I said, it's more of an origin story of Casey Jones, so maybe that'll be something we see in a later movie, hopefully. But Stephen Amell himself did an okay job. There's not a huge difference between Casey Jones and Oliver Queen, the way he plays them. Casey's a little less confident because he doesn't know what's going on, but it's kind of the same role. You don't see a huge difference between the two. Maybe some sort of physical difference would have helped. Casey usually has longer hair, so if they would have let him even just put on a wig or something, I think would have helped. But yeah, there's not a lot of difference between there. It's confident, and if you like what he plays as Oliver Queen, you'll like Casey Jones. I was kind of indifferent to it. He did all right. Again, I would have liked to see him in the mask more, but it was all right. So let's get into our villains. Bum, bum, bum. So the Shredder is back, played by a different actor. Not that anyone would ever notice, because he's barely in the first movie, and he's honestly barely in this one. His costume is a lot better this time. It's much more of a ninja, straightforward one. He's not in the mask very much, but he does okay for what he's in there, but he's not in there at all again. It's really disappointing that Shredder's just misused a lot, and that's really all I can say about him. Well, I'm sure everyone wants to hear what I thought about Tyler Perry as Baxter Stockman. He does okay. He doesn't go super into crazy scientist mode too much. He's not terribly overbearing, but one thing they do that I absolutely loved and I think is great is there's a few times where he would try and say something funny, and everyone in the scene would look at him like they just want to murder him. And I just imagine that's Tyler Perry's life. Like, he says something funny and everyone just looks at him like they want to stab him in the face. Because I want to stab him in the face all the time. He's terrible. But he does okay as Baxter Stockman. Yeah, he's not over the top crazy. He does a decent job. I liked what he did. Not too many complaints. Yeah, alright. Tyler Perry playing it simple. You wouldn't think that would happen. So, the piece de la resistance, and you saw it in the trailer, so it's not a spoiler. Bebop and Rocksteady finally in a live-action movie, and they were fantastic. They were dumb, they were loud, they were just loving being criminals. They were a warthog and a rhinoceros. What more do you want? The character design looked fantastic. Looked like it was pulled out of the cartoon. The actors doing the voices were fantastic. I love Seamus, who played Rocksteady. And he's a great Rocksteady. I'm not sure who the guy who played Bebop was, but he was fantastic. These guys are just over the top, ridiculous, fun. It's great. I love these guys, and they're in a ton of the movie. It's not like a little nod or whatever. They are a big hunk of this movie, and I love it. It's fantastic. Thumbs up for that. Absolutely loved Bebop and Rocksteady. The last kind of villain I got to talk about and throw it in there is the Foot Clan, of course, is back, but they are actual ninjas this time. The last one, they're more like a SWAT team almost. They had guns, they just painted their face black. This time, it's ninja weapons with a ninja mask. They're ninjas. Again, big upgrade, well done. I think they listened to people's complaints there and addressed it, and it's fantastic. I loved it. So, what really worked well about this movie? Like I said, it sounded like they listened to your complaints and addressed a lot of them. A lot of great improvements to the turtles, giving them a lot better body styles and types, making them more individualized. Like I said, the Foot Clan's been fixed. And they also used a lot more of the cartoon, which is something I think we've been asking for since Secret of the Ooze. We got Baxter Stockman, Bebop, Rocksteady. There's nods to other characters in the cartoons. And it's just a really cool thing to see that they're finally pulling from that lore a lot more. And it was fun. They did all the additions, I think, really worked, and they fixed a lot of things that were complaints of the last movie besides the Shredder. But I seem like they listened to the fans and addressed some problems and did it well. And like I said, I love Bebop and Rocksteady. I love the change to the turtles. All that stuff was just done fantastic. And the jokes work a lot in this movie as well. I was laughing a lot of this movie. The jokes land a really good amount of times. It's a really funny movie, and I enjoy it. And I like how pretty much Mikey's the only funny one. In the 90s one, it seems like all of them are trying to be funny a lot of the times. This one, each character has their moments, and Mikey is the funny one. There are some jokes played on Raph, and there are some great jokes between Casey Jones and the Turtles when they first meet, and that's done really well. It's a really funny movie, and it's done well. There are some really good nods to other things outside the cartoon as well. There's a scene where Stephen Amell walks into a bar and Ice Ice Baby is playing. Obviously, kind of a nod to the ninja rap done in Secret of the Ooze, and I thought that was great. And there's just a lot of little nods to things like that I enjoyed as well. There's a few Easter eggs. It's a good job. I think they did a fantastic job with some improvements, the jokes, and doing some really good nods. It was, which made it a really fun movie. But of course, not every movie is perfect. So here are my complaints about Ninja Turtles. First main complaint is there's no time to simmer. A lot of stuff is dropped in right away and is thrown at you right away. That's why I can't even really go into this plot without spoiling things. But like Bebop and Rocksteady come in really early in the movie. Casey Jones is introduced very early in the movie. Even the over-sexualization of April O'Neil is done just right away. Like, they just kind of get that out of the way. And that could work in a lot of movies, but I felt like this time it just hit you too fast, and it ended up feeling convenient too much. I can't go into a lot of it without spoiling it, but yeah, a lot of this movie is just thrown at you right away, and I think it was for the detriment of the movie that is done that way. So that was the beginning, had some problems. The climax also had some problems. Basically, it's the same exact climax as the previous movie. Without spoiling things, it's Donatello having to stop a machine while the Turtles fight somebody that's outside their class and who is a really hard challenge for them. Yeah, this is the first movie's climax, just done over again. And it's even done in a high spot, so where they can fall off of things. Come on, guys, give us something a little different. But yeah, same exact climax, little ridiculous. And that was kind of shitty. Sorry, that kind of hurt the movie a lot. Like I said, the Shredder isn't used very well again. He's barely in it. He's taken care of at the end, seemingly pretty easily. He's just not used. I don't know what the problem is with them using the Shredder, but they seem to have issues with the Shredder. I don't know. Very odd. And the last complaint I have is there are some jokes that don't land, and there's some dialogue that is very awkward and weird. Casey Jones randomly tells people he wants to be a detective, seemingly out of nowhere. He's just talking like, oh yeah, I want to be a detective. What? And it's not even like I'm complaining because that's not out of the character. It's just out of nowhere that happens. He's like, I want to be a detective. And there's a few lines that just feel very stilted, and I don't know if they're trying to pull things from the cartoon that didn't work in live action or what the deal was. But yeah, there are some definite joke and writing issues within this movie that definitely hurt it. Even if you go into it thinking it's going to be stupid, they end up kind of being stupid. So, I gave you the characters. We talked about the good. We talked about the bad. Now it's time for spoilers. Go ahead and click Leonardo if you want to skip to my wrap-up, but we're going spoilers. If you haven't figured out from the trailers, there are some strong hints, and it's true. Krang is in this movie, and he's voiced by Raymond's brother from Everyone Loves Raymond. But he's done really well. He looks like Krang. He's very oozy looking. He's got his tentacles, and he's a big brain. The voice is done really well, where he does a lot of the that Krang does. And I just love it. His robot design for his body is done really well. It's new, but still a nod to what was done in the cartoon. And that was fantastic. And I thought Krang was done really well. He, is medical, maniacal, however you say that word, because I can't words good. But yeah, he wants to take over the Earth because he's Krang the Conqueror, and that's what he does. And I thought that was done great and fantastic. I loved it. And of course, we also get the Technodrome. So here's where I can kind of explain the plot and where it kind of falls flat, but sort of works, I guess. Baxter Stockman finds a piece of alien tech that he finds he can use as a transportation device. And they use it to break Shredder out of jail. But when he gets broken out of the jail, when he's teleported, he's accidentally teleported to Dimension X, where Krang meets him and tells him he needs to find 2 more pieces of this device that were left on Earth so he can create an interdimensional portal so Krang can bring his Technodrome into Earth and take over Earth. That is explained in like the first 30 minutes of the movie, and again, that's where stuff's just like thrown right at you. So we do get the Technodrome, but only for a second. Like everyone kind of assumed, all those pieces of metal in the trailer that are flying through the planet or flying through the sky are the Technodrome assembling itself. And you kind of get a sense of the eye and you get a sense of the idea of it, but it only assembles for like a second and then disappears. And it's kind of the convenient ending, which also kind of hurts the movie as well. You don't really get to see it assembled. It makes sense sort of in the movie, but I would have liked to see more of the Technodrome. It kind of comes in at the end and doesn't really do anything and just disappears. So I don't know if it's fan service or if that's just the best idea they thought of, but it seemed convenient and I liked the design of it, but it didn't fit well. And that's kind of where Krang is. Krang's in the beginning for a second, and then he's at the end. So it's really hard to say who's even the main villain in this because Shredder's barely in it, Krang's barely in it, so I guess it's Bebop and Rocksteady are your main, antagonists in this movie. It's very odd that way. Let's wrap it up, shall we? So, it's a good movie. It's not great. With the last movie, and same with this one, it depends on the mindset you're going into this. And I'm going to go off on a little bit of a rant here. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What part of that name thinks you should take this super serious? What's wrong with you people that, like, the Ninja Turtles is this franchise you can't touch? It's so amazing. You know, that Michael Bay's just gonna screw this all up. It's Ninja Turtles, people, come on! It's supposed to be stupid. Just have fun with it. And if you go into these movies with that mindset, you're gonna love them and have at least fun with it. But people are just so serious about this for whatever reason. It's freaking Ninja Turtles. And I think that kind of leads into the Ghostbusters debate a little bit, where I'm having problems with people that don't like it. It's freaking Ghostbusters. They're busting ghosts. What more do you want? Like, these aren't franchises that can't be hurt. And to be honest, both Ninja Turtles and Ghostbusters have been crapped on well before they made these movies. So I don't know why this hate's coming in already. If you've known these franchises, you know they've been shit on a lot. More than Ninja Turtles. I don't want to get into Ghostbusters. So more Ninja Turtles, and Honest Trailers just did a great thing where they showed off like how much the Ninja Turtles have been shit on well before Michael Bay even decided to produce a movie of them. You know, there was the Coming Out of the Shells tour, the We Wish You a Turtles Christmas, there's the Out of the Shells sequel tour. Like, Ninja Turtles have been put in with a lot worse properties than this. So just enjoy the fun of it. And like I said, they're really taking some nods from the fans and going into the cartoon a lot, which is great. And you just have to realize it's Ninja Turtles. Have fun with it. It's supposed to be a little stupid. Just, stop taking things so freaking serious. Anyways, sorry about that little rant there. But yeah, if you go into a mindset with this movie of just having fun with it, you're going to have fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. No, it's not award-winning or, a thing that's going to blow your mind. It's Ninja Turtles. And it's treated like Ninja Turtles. And I thought it was done very well. I'd say it's on par with the first movie. It's hard to say which is better, which is worse. They both have their ups and downs. But if you liked the first movie, you're going to like this one. If you just rewatch the first movie with a mindset of having fun and knowing what you're getting, I think you're going to like it, to be honest. I think a lot of people went in wanting to hate it, so they hated it. But I had some fun with it. I think if you just if you just go in having fun and wanting to have fun, you're going to love this. So, let's just go ahead and give this a rating, shall we? On a scale from Leatherhead to King Rats, I'm going to give this a Mondo. So I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard. Until next time, hold on to your hold slots.